It is time for your favorite Android podcast from the crew of blindandroidusers.com. Kick back, relax, and enjoy another fine episode from these Google fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here are your hosts. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 109 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. This is our very first episode of the new year 2023. We're recording on January 7th, 2023. I am Warren Carr alongside with my co-hosts and a special guest. I've got John Dyer, Miriam, the red-headed stranger, Fee Dan, Austin Pinto, and our guest, Diane Ducharme from the Blindshell Classic USA or Blindshell USA. And coming up on this episode, we have our session with Diane. We'll talk about what's going on, anything in the new year to look forward to on the Blindshell Classic2. Then, of course, it's CES, Consumer Electronics Show, and we'll be talking about that. And we close this episode with an app of the week from our friend Miwash. That's what we got coming up for you. Miriam, what's going on with you?
It is not the best right now. I kicked off the year with COVID again. The whole house actually got COVID. It's not really good. I'm hoping to get back again to things in the next couple of weeks because I'm starting school in about 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I had some gigs canceled and some things, but I'm trying to have some quiet time and hopefully things get better.
It seems like this COVID has been kind of coming after you for quite a spell now. And probably this is your maybe second or third time of having COVID?
I think it's the fourth time.
Oh my goodness. That's no
Yeah.
bueno. No bueno. John, you're not having any COVID, are you?
No, I'm feeling pretty good. I had a pretty good week, except for the fact that I bought a broken computer from Best Buy. So I took the chance of getting an open box item to save some money, and I'm gonna end up having to return it. It's not working.
So it came up not working. When you turn it on, it's not turning on?
Yeah, the speakers don't work. I have to plug in
A headset.
headphones just to hear narrator, and then the touchscreen doesn't work, and the mouse trackpad doesn't even work. So it's very broken. Can't even get through the setup.
Well, so it seems no one even looked at it before they sold it. Usually,
I know.
open boxes, work good, frankly, but something odd went on.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot from Best Buy over the years. It's a good way to save some money, and I've never really had an issue with it until now. So, I guess it happens every once in a while. Something
But this
slips
one's
through.
probably worth $100 in the state that it's currently in.
So, if
Maybe
that, yeah.
not.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness. Austin Pinto, what's going on? You still getting hot out there, my man?
So after kicking the New Year celebration with a really good fireworks display and all, it's slightly getting hot, and there is a festive week ahead in India. There are lots of festivals full across the country, and I've got a little bit of cold and cough, but it'll soon get better. But it's slowly we are moving to the summertime, which is not my favorite season.
Well, at least summer's coming to shine, right? We
Yeah, but
love
I don't like
summertime here.
I don't like it.
I know. Fee girl, what's up with you? You're sounding really good today, Fee. You're kind of feeling better. Your cold
I
is
am.
gone, and you're back to the
Yeah.
normal Fee.
Well, nearly. Nearly. I don't know if there is such a thing as a normal fee, but yeah, I'm much better than I was. Still, the asthma is still a bit annoying, but it's much, 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 much better than it was. We had some fireworks for New Year, but they weren't as good as some other years because it was raining, it was drizzling, and then all of a sudden it was really raining. So, yeah. So that was a bit subdued, really. Yeah, I'm busy now preparing for my next service where I'm preaching and leading the service at the end of the month. So I am very busy.
But I thought you liked the rain, Fee, especially rainy nights, right?
What? Why?
I don't know. I thought you liked the rain.
Only when it was like 40 degrees Celsius and everyone was melting and we needed the rain to cool down. In this time of year, nah, I like it when it's sunny.
I agree. Dan, we're going to be talking with you, but how was your summer? I mean, how was your New Year? Okay, so Dan, not your summer, but how was your New Year?
Well, it seems so long ago that it could have been summer, but yeah, it was nice. We had some friends over. We played 80s and 90s trivia, and so that was fun.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, in the way of announcements, we don't have any today. Austin wasn't up to doing announcements, so we're skipping those today. Instead, though, we're going to turn on to our next segment. We now move on to that Newsies segment, and that's the spotlight. And we're talking about Diane here with the classic, the Blindshell Classic2. Some new thing has happened, and Diane, we would like you to talk about it. And first of all, though, I want to thank you for allowing us to review that unit. John did a good job at reviewing the unit, and I hope that when the Classic 3 come out, that we will be the first ones to review that Classic 3. But meanwhile, though, how about you tell us what's going on with what we have right now?
Okay, so just for those who don't know, the Blindshell Classic2 is an accessible cell phone that has actual buttons on it. So it does have a screen, but that's for display only. So you can, swipe and tap all you want on it, but it's not going to affect anything and you're not going to mess anything up. So it's all menu driven with buttons. And the big announcement that we had this week is that we now have the Bard app on the Blindshell, so you can access your NLS books. And I apologize for our international people, since this is something that is a US-based program. But if you happen to be a United States citizen living in another country, you are eligible to get your National Lending Service books, your Bard books, through the the Library of Congress program. So you can still listen to them even though you're not living in the United States.
Wonderful, because that was one of those things I remember that we actually asked about that as to whether or not, and it was one of those things that you thought that you folks were working on or considering doing, and I'm surprised it came this early. So that's a great improvement, and kudos to you guys for doing that. So if you are in the States and you like Bard, I've been listening to some Bard books. Usually I'm not an audio guy, but I confess over the Christmas break, I started listening to a book and I actually finished it. Usually it will take me months, but it was such an interesting book. And so I found a way to listening to those books is by trying to do it in the daytime when I'm not busy or when I don't have much to do, as to trying to do it when I'm in bed. And then it becomes a lullaby. So
yeah. And then you have to rewind it because you missed
exactly.
You fell asleep. Yeah.
And I can tell where I was when I fell asleep. So it's just terrible to listen to books at night at my end.
Don't they have a sleep timer though?
It does. Yes. Yeah,
the one we have, the Dolphin Easy Reader, or if you're using the Audible app, they all have sleep timers, I think. By the way, does the Audible app work on the Blindshell Classic too?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I know you can use the A Lady and the skills, but sometimes if you want to read your whole list of Audible books, if you're like me and you've got rather a lot, that's not very easy to do. You know, you have to actually go to the app and read them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It works good. It works good on it, actually. It's like the full Audible app. It works with like Bluetooth headphones. The controls for skipping forward and backward all work just like you're using it on a regular Android phone.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So
That's really
Bard
good.
was our most requested app. Everywhere we go, that's always the first question. Can I listen to my Bard books on there? So we are very proud to have this done, as Warren said, so quickly, much quicker, is that a word? Quicker than we anticipated. So people are already enjoying it. So that makes us very happy.
That's really good. Are there any
Yeah.
plans to do the Dolphin Easy Reader for those of us in the UK? And I think it works with other libraries as well, like Australian ones, and I don't think it's just UK.
Let's just say that that's a very strong possibility.
Okay.
And there are some other big ones that are going to be coming out in the next month or so.
Oh, so might you be coming back to tell us all about those?
If you'll have me, I will definitely tell you, because we're just expanding, and the more that we could put on the phone, then the better it is for everybody who uses it. So what's interesting is I've been hearing, since the Bard app was released on Thursday, I've heard numerous people say, I think I'm going to get rid of my Victor Stream now. So for the price of the Blindshell for $489, it's now not only your phone, but your podcast player, YouTube, Audible, Ira, Be My Eyes, Step Counter, all that kind of stuff. And now it's your book player.
And WhatsApp. And can you
WhatsApp.
do Facebook on there? You can do Facebook as well, can't you?
It has Facebook Messenger. Yeah.
Oh, but not actual Facebook.
No, because we found that the app that they created was much more cumbersome than just going to the internet browser and doing facebook.com or
so you can do it, but you just go on the website instead. And so what about Twitter?
Twitter is not there yet, but that's a good suggestion.
The other question I had, which I don't know whether I asked you last time or not, but I recently got a new Braille display. Now, I have Samsung phones, but thinking about one person in particular who I know who would love a phone, I think, that isn't a touch screen, that would work with a Braille display. Is that a possibility at the moment?
So right now, no, but that's a pet peeve of mine, because I think that's a very important thing to happen, not only for people who just want to use the Braille display, but for people who are also deafblind. It's something that I am pushing.
I think that's very important. And because I did recommend the Blindshell Classic to this person, and then she said, well, does it work with a Braille display? I said, I don't think it does at the moment, unfortunately. So that would be on some people's wish list, I think.
Yes, yeah, including mine.
And some people just feel more comfortable to type in Braille than on with the number, the T9 sort of key.
Yeah, so
phone keypad.
And I know it's not anywhere near a good substitute, but it is a substitute that you can plug in a USB-C connected keyboard if you wanted to type that way.
That's a bit tedious.
Yeah.
Well, at least there's something there
it's
for
something,
someone who could use.
But I just don't. I mean, most phones you can just do Bluetooth keyboard. Like I've got a QWERTY Bluetooth keyboard as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be carrying wires about. It's a workaround, but to me, it's not. Mm-hmm. It needs to be a bit more modernized.
Yeah, I think you exactly hit it, Fee. That when the Blindshell first came out, I don't think that they were actually thinking of the market that is actually starting to trend towards the Blindshell. It's becoming people who are much more techy. So that's where we need to step it up a little bit.
and not assume that people who don't want a touch screen are too stupid to be techie.
Yeah.
Which I think some people could fall into that trap, maybe. I mean, my great aunt, she's not blind, but she's 100
Oh,
and
wow.
she's using a tablet.
Very good. Yeah.
It's not an Android tablet, but she's using a tablet at the age of 100 and sending emails on it. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm actually amazed at what people are doing with their blind shells. So again, it's much more than I anticipated people would be doing. So yeah, I agree. We need to step up the technology side of it.
I
That's
think that'd
wonderful.
be really good. That'd be good, and it's good that you've got this. For US people, it's good that you've got this Bard. Is it like do you download the books through the app? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
And like you log into the library, and then you from your own account, like you have a username and password, and then you can download your books onto your phone.
Yes. So, and it gives you the option to download them directly to the phone or to an SD card.
Which is probably a better idea because I think, is it 16 gigabytes
It is,
you have on?
Yes.
I think, again, the new version really, I think, needs more than that, really, doesn't it? If you're allowing people to download audiobooks and stuff, if they haven't got an SD card, I mean, I know SD cards are quite cheap, but that's going to go a bit wrong if they try and save an audiobook onto the phone, because most audiobooks, well, if they save a few, if they save as many as I have, it probably blow up, actually.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I think maybe in the next iteration of the phone,
the
should
next
have at least
version,
32 gigs.
I think
most
so.
especially when it has such a long support from the classic people.
Yeah.
So
like a
really,
strange
I think it
band.
will be a nice idea to have a 32 gig version in the next one because you guys
or
give it
higher.
a good support.
Do people get an SD card with it? Do they get an SD card in the box?
So they do not get an SD card. We are starting to develop other packages now, other than just the box with the phone in it, the battery, and the headphones and the charger. So we're starting to combine, making bundles. So that's one thing that will be available, that you could buy, the phone, the case, the SD card, and and speaking of the consumer electronics, our CEO was there yesterday looking at all kinds of accessories that could work with the Blindshell.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
There's something you mentioned earlier on, Diane, about this phone, most especially in relation with the Bard app. You mentioned something that some people are saying, hey, I'm going to get rid of my Victor Stream. And frankly, you guys have jumped into something that you probably didn't know what you are jumping into. But I think it's a good thing because now you have a phone, like you said, and not only a phone that you can make calls and do whatever, do your messaging and all of that great stuff, browsing, whatever you want to do. But you can also have your books on there. And I've always wondered, Victor Stream people, I'm not hating on you guys, but I've always questioned the whole idea of having another gadget when I have my phone that I can have my books on. But this is a perfect replacement or example of that type of thing because you have all together in one. I think that's a very good idea. Now, all we need is some more storage.
The price isn't that much different, is it, between the Blindshell Classic and the Victor Reader Stream? And it doesn't do anywhere near as much.
And I love my Victor Stream. I use it every day, so I'm not coming down on the product. I think it's a great product. Like I said, I use it every day, but now we have the ability to have it all in one, as Warren said.
I suppose some of those products are good if you know you're going on, I don't know, a long haul flight or a really long train journey or something, and you don't want to run down your phone battery from reading your books. I suppose that's where something like that would. I mean, for me, my version of that is the Amazon Fire tablet, which again it's a touch screen though, but for me that's fine, and it was like, I don't know, £80 or £60 or something. And the battery lasts for ages if you know you're going to be on a long journey, and you want to make sure your phone's going to still work, like when you need picking up from the station or something. So I can see use case for it for things like that. Is good. Personally, I wouldn't spend that much on a product apart from a phone or something that would do a bit more when I can do the stuff on my phone. I think it's great. We've got choice now, though, isn't it? We've got all more choice. We've got Android phones, Apple phones, tablets. You know, we've got so many different things that we didn't have really properly even 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, the technology is just amazing now.
Yeah.
And John,
are you looking into people being able to read books on there with, like, you know, Kindle books and things like that? You know, finding a way of turning the page using the keyboard, because again, this was something that my person who asked me about getting a non-touchscreen phone would like to be able to read. She's a great reader, but she likes to read in Braille, not
list audio.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she's always listening to audio on her computer and that when she's doing work, so she likes to read in Braille other times. And I think sometimes she reads some quite dense academic stuff that would blow my mind, but she's a very clever lady. So I think looking into Kindle books would be, I mean, it's a great way of getting some books that we as blind people can't get anywhere else, because some of them aren't on Audible, they're not on Bard, they're not on, you know, but they have been published on Kindle.
Yes,
and also it's quite a good way to get cheap books. Sometimes if you look at the offers, they're 99p and things, you know. So is that being looked into, do you know, or have other people suggested that?
Yes, they have suggested it, and I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you do. Can you read those books through Lady A?
You can, yeah, but you can't easily like list your books. If you've only got one or two books, it's fine.
Okay.
But if you've got a load of books, like if I ask the A lady for what my Audible books are, it'll tell me 3 or 4, and then it'll say see the rest of your books, go to the app.
Okay.
And I think Kindle is similar in that way. So if you remember the exact title, then yes, it will read it to you. But you wouldn't be able to spell individual words and things if you wanted to check that sort of stuff easily, I don't think. Whereas if I'm reading on my tablet or on my Samsung phone, I can check how a word is or a name or something is spelled if I don't know.
Okay.
Things like, and I can put bookmarks in the book if there are some really interesting bits that I might want to come back to, like in a reference book in the future or something, or just a really hilarious bit of a book that I want to share with my friend when I next phone them or something.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how it would work because I haven't tried it, but I know on the Blindshell there is a repeat button. If you hold it down, it'll actually spell what the phone just said.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that may work for what you're referring to.
Now, talking about what Fee is saying, though, Fee, your friend is not going to be able to do this because she wants to read it in Braille, and we've established that Braille is
but if that
not
was in the future,
part
but
of
if
the
Braille,
thing
but
right
I'm
now.
talking about I'm talking about future. I'm in CES mode now. You know, I'm talking about concepts and future and exciting things that we could have in the future now.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I'm
when
not done though. Here's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Outside of Braille, the blind shell people can still have an ebook reading capability app there, whether it be the Kindle or whatever EPUB reader, in the sense that is going to be verbalized using the TTS. And then, like Diane had indicated, if you want to find the spelling of a word, you should be able to up and down arrow to that, or and try to find the
Mhm.
spelling of that word. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be so complicated to implement
No,
an ebook
I-
reader.
no.
The
I mean,
Braille
I
one
don't
is going
always
to be a
read
tough
them
one.
in. I don't always read mine in Braille. Quite often, I'm lazy and I just want to listen on headphones while I do the washing up or something. You know, but you know, sometimes I do read things in Braille, but quite often I don't. But I know some people want to. But you know, I can still spell out a name or something if I want to know how you spelt that. So I think that an app like that would be a really good,
Yeah, I agree.
good idea. And you just need one of the keys to press to turn the pages forward or backwards.
Mhm.
Because obviously that's a gesture on the phone, like a swipey gesture. But I'm sure that could be done. You know, that the phone could be, it would know it was in a book reader, so that these numbers would now do that rather than typing text or whatever.
Yeah, apps can tie into for example, the chess app that was released recently. It's like a
Yes.
game.
Yeah.
You can use the keypad to like move your pieces around. So it's kind of
Yes.
like turns the keypad into like a directional pad.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
we do have chess on there now. We do have a currency converter, so it'll, change dollars to whatever to dollars, and we have a translator on there now, so
Oh,
it will
wow.
be able to translate English into whatever, or whatever in English.
Yeah, I noticed that. I don't know if you guys did this on purpose or if it was a coincidence or something, but I think I noticed the 4 new apps in the store on Christmas. I don't
Yes.
know if
Yeah,
you did that
so
on purpose or not.
we did actually, because apparently, and Fee may be able to enlighten us on this, but apparently in Europe, the big thing in technology is a Christmas surprise. So that's what Blindshell does every year. They do a Christmas surprise where they release a couple of new apps.
Oh, nice.
No, I haven't really heard of that, but I do know that a lot of people, you know, when the family's all getting a bit intense, they go off and play on their phone for a bit. I couldn't possibly comment as to whether I've done that myself in the past, but you know, when it's all getting a bit intense, however much you love your family, when there's about 13 or 12 of you, it's like, I just need a few minutes of not talking to somebody, you know. I mean, I had a new Audible book on Christmas Day from an author I like that was released on Christmas Day, and my lady notified me because I'd bought, all the other books. So that was a nice surprise, especially because I was here on my own. I wasn't with my family because I wasn't well, which was a bit annoying. So yeah, for anyone who's on their own, or they just need a bit of downtime, it might be a really lovely thing to make your Christmas even better. What a wonderful. So what other apps did you release at Christmas then? Because the other people listening might be interested to know what new apps that there are.
Yeah, so there was a chess game, there was the currency converter, the translator, and a file manager that now allows people to move things from computer to phone and all this other stuff. So now people aren't just reliant on I guess they're kind of like electronic Pokemon-ish ringtones. Now they can download their own ringtones.
That's good.
Stuff like that.
And can you move things between the phone and the memory card and vice versa as well with this file manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, because if your phone gets too full, it's one of the first things I do anyway.
Yeah.
Fee, you mentioned something about the battery, and I think that John, in your review, or when we talked about it, you actually have very decent battery life out of that phone, didn't you?
Yeah, if you're coming from a full-blown smartphone that, you'll get 2 days out of it at the most, this lasts a lot longer than that.
Yeah,
You could probably get 3 or 4 days out of it.
Yeah, it's 96 hours, pretty much standby time. So it all depends on how much you use the phone. But I generally charge mine every 4 or 5 days.
Oh, wow. But presumably it's not water resistant like a lot of smartphones because you've got the buttons.
Yeah, I would assume no.
Don't put it in your bath, anybody. That's not a good idea.
No. But what a lot of people have been purchasing as a separate thing, and we don't sell it, but you can buy it at like Amazon, Target, wherever, is the new Bose MicroLink Bluetooth speaker that pairs very easily to the Blindshell, and that can actually be in water for half an hour.
I have some Sonos ones like that.
Yeah.
I actually have a stereo pair that I got over the course of 2 birthdays, one each year. And I have to say, I actually dropped both of those into the bath at different times because I'm clumsy, and they're fine. They still work. I wipe them off, and they're fine. But yeah, don't do that with your Blindshell, folks.
No,
not a good idea.
No.
Thank you so much, Diane. That's been wonderful. And so I think you'll be coming on here often and talking about this baby.
Probably, yes. And I'll tell you, if or when Blindshell is ready to do a Blindshell Classic 3, I am definitely going to include you guys because you have the best suggestions.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the second part of this segment, and that's the spotlight. And so we continue now with CES, Consumer Electronics Show. John, do you have a little toy you're taking to CES to demo out there? What you got?
Never been to CES. It's not something I'm interested in. I follow it very closely, but I don't think I'd ever go there.
Yeah, so CES, as the history goes back, it was mainly, hey, what kind of a new gadget you got, something to chop the tomato or chop the onion, whatever the case may be. And so we've seen CES evolve over the years, and now prominent companies, fun companies, everyone tries to show what's coming on during CES. And so it's just a very great place. Sometimes these things are concepts that never come to fruition, but at least they showcase those concepts in there. And sometimes, a lot of the times, I will say, these devices that are shown, come out sometime in the year and sometimes not till the following year. So CES is such a great place to be for companies, and everything goes, it's what I call the kitchen sink here because everything goes into CES. John, you want to get us started with some of the things that you like that are being showcased or were showcased at CES 2023?
Have they got a teleportation device yet? Because if they had that and I could just go that, like, I'm there, and then afterwards I'm home again, that'd be cool. I could go then, but I bet there isn't.
Someone should think of that, tech. And then I'll be eating dinner at Fee's house and come back home.
Yeah.
Because at least dinner time at your house, Fee, is still early in the morning, my time, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I make very good coffee, though. I'm not a very good cook, but I make very good coffee.
Well, you can have coffee at Fee's, and you can have lunch here and dinner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll have breakfast at Fee's and have dinners at Miriam's. How about that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Maybe
John,
that should be the next Blindshell Classic feature, teleportation.
Oh, my goodness. So, John, are you teleporting to CES? Tell us what you like about CES this year so far.
I think the things that have intrigued me are the satellite connectivity and the flagship Qualcomm chips coming out this year, and the well, we can just talk about that first because the big deal about that is Apple made a big deal about if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have cell phone connectivity, the iPhone 14 can use satellites to help you send a text message to 911, like an SOS message. If you're like lost and you need help, it'll send your coordinates and a message to the closest 911 center. But this new Qualcomm chip coming out is going to have actual like full texting capabilities where you can be in control of who you text, and you can send and receive text messages anywhere, because as long as you have access to the sky. So it doesn't matter whether you have cell coverage or not. So I think this is kind of Android taking it a one step further than what Apple has done.
You can even send
So-
pictures of you to your friends. So that is
Yes.
a really good bandwidth of satellite communication.
But obviously not when you're underground. That's the only place that wouldn't work, isn't it? Because obviously you don't have the sky.
Yep.
So who's going to be using these chips? Do we know yet?
It sounds like a Motorola with their Moto Defy might be the first one to take a crack at this technology. And so I think maybe sometime this year or maybe next year, a lot of phones will have that, especially those that are using the Qualcomm ones. And I hope, I don't know, because I'm a Pixel guy, and Google, you better be cooking something, because I like to see that on my phone and not having to jump ship and go into some other place, say, hey, move back to Samsung or move to Realme, some of those phones that use the Qualcomm chip. So I hope somehow that Google will do something about this, because it's a very important thing, most especially the fact that, one could even use it with some apps and things like that. It's just a good start.
It ought to be Samsung, really, because that's the satellites. They'll be part of the galaxy, won't they?
Mm-hmm.
It is part of the galaxy. Yeah.
You see, yeah. You see, Ed's not here to make the terrible jokes, so I'm just
And so
just trying to fill in for that.
I think the company that is partnering with Qualcomm, I think it's Raytheon. I'm trying to remember the name of the company, is giving them this technology or partnership. And so we're having a good thing here. And I hope that a lot of phones, manufacturers would use that technology, because, you're in the middle of Montana or Wyoming, and I've been to those places, and you literally have nothing. Even here in the state of Washington, when I go east of here to the Palouse, I don't have any connectivity whatsoever. So it's one of those things that might come in handy. Next, let's talk about some other things that are there at CES. Like I said, there's so many of them. I think this year, though, lots of laptops and things like that, including Motorola, of course, doing all kinds of stuff with some tablets that they have. The 14.5-inch, we thought that the Samsung 14-inch was the biggest ever. And now Motorola wants to take the crown with that new tablet of theirs. And that thing is like $1,200? Gosh, that's so expensive for a tablet, isn't it?
Yeah.
My goodness. Would you be buying that to demo that, unbox that for the podcast, Austin?
No, I would not. So
No.
to summarize CES, there was a lot of Wi-Fi 7 announcements, 8K TVs, but I like two things of CES. The one was the Motorola Think phone, and one was, which is really going to be a concept, I think, the wireless TV. This is going to be a really concept TV, because it runs on battery. Yes. It runs on battery. The battery has a validity of 1 day. And I don't know, those using Tata Play or Tata Sky, the Sky boxes, I don't know how they're going to watch wireless TV. I think this will be used only if you go for traveling, or if you're running for a camping trip or something. You can watch it using your internet.
Yeah, I saw that one as well. I think it was from LG. I was really excited about it because I travel a lot, and I think it's such an amazing intervention.
This is not from LG, it's from a startup called Display or
Oh,
something
really?
like that. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
55-inch device that you
Mhm.
can mount anywhere in your house or on any surface. It has some powerful suction thing that you just so it
Okay.
eliminates anything wire. But you can stack them. So you could have two of them. It gives you a 110 inch if you want and things like that. But the whole idea here is that it's wireless, no power needed because the battery lasts for a long time. So I can see this as a win-win thing if it really comes into market, but it's kind of a little bit expensive. I think it's like 2,500 or maybe whatever. But then when you compare that to the Samsung whatever, it's like 15,000 for that 100-inch whatever. So really, I think we're going to see a lot of evolutions. The next few months to next couple of years, we're going to be in for good trade here. And yes, Miriam, LG has their own too, but the one that Austin's talking about is this new startup. I think they're like 4 or 6 people in this company. Yeah, very
I
interesting.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Yeah, that is
small
interesting.
TV would be good though, because you could then, like Mariam said, you could travel with it. I mean, for me, I find that a lot of TVs are very big now, and I live in quite a small flat apartment, you'd probably call it, and I my TV is an older one, so it's quite small, and then I've just got the Chromecast, the one with the remote. But if I could get a nice newer smart TV, I'd love to. But at the moment, they're all like 40-inch or more. Where am I going to put that? There's no catering for those of us who want a smaller TV, because I'd love a smaller TV that ran on Android. That'd be amazing.
And I think another thing, though, I don't know how accessible these things are going to be. Of course, we're always an afterthought. And another concern that I may have is, let's say you want to connect one of your peripherals to your TV. I wonder, maybe they'll have some wireless connectivity, like it has a hub that you can hook up your Xboxes or your I just got the kids something PS whatever.
PlayStation.
PS5.
Yeah, PS, and then there's the Nintendo Switch. So Christmas was absolutely a beautiful thing here. A new Xbox, because the one that we had, was from a while ago. So we decided to get one of those new ones, as well as the PS, whatever, and the Nintendo Switch. They've been bugging me about those things like no man's business. So uh, I can see, how do we connect this thing to this thing that doesn't have any wires? Maybe they'll have a hub.
Another concern that I have is mounting these TVs using suction cups. So if you live in an area where your temperature changes frequently, like 40 degrees Celsius to like 20 degrees Celsius, then the suction gets weak, and then down falls your 55-inch TV from the wall.
But they have talked about the fact that they've, tested in situations like with something huge hit the house or an earthquake, whatever, and the thing stays on. So I think they kind of look into these things, because it's not only something that's going to be in like temperate regions. You could have it in the tropics or wherever. So I think those guys do their homework, but it's a good concern. But I don't think that the inside of your house is going to be that hot to actually melt off something. And if your house is that hot, you better turn on the air conditioner,
So Austin just mentioned it in passing, but something I found interesting, I'm curious about, is the Motorola Think phone, because it supposedly has like a dedicated button for, now it uses Microsoft Teams, but I think what they're trying to implement is, like, if you remember back in the Sprint days, it might even going back to the Nextel days, where you used to have push to talk phones. Do anybody remember that, or like walkie-talkie type thing? I think that's what Motorola is trying to emulate here. So I'm curious to see how that works.
They do have that push to talk, and of course, like you indicated, it uses the Microsoft Teams for that capability. But the whole idea about it is the seamless doing things with your computer. So if you like your ThinkPad, you're gonna like this Think phone, and the whole focus is on productivity. We'll see how the customer react to it and whether people are going to like it or not. But I think it may be a breakthrough for Motorola.
I think they are building a Think ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've already built it. They're just adding the phone to it. So it's kind of aimed as like a business phone.
Exactly. And I was kind of thinking, hey, was LG thinking of the Think when they had the thin Q, but put a Q instead of a K? They didn't want to infringe on
exactly.
Motorola's or Lenovo's Think, with a K. So I'm like, well, maybe LG was into something. And frankly, to be honest, LG was very innovative with some of its things, and but it's unfortunate things didn't turn out right for them.
With things with funny names, slightly off topic, but whatever happened to the Nothing phone?
Because it's a nothing.
Because we talked about it once.
The Nothing 2 is coming by April.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they're thinking of bringing it to some, places in the US, very few, though. We'll see what happens. The Nothing phone, created quite a stir, but then it kind of it fizzles out, or I don't know.
It created a stir for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, a little Chinese stir fry there that it brought. But then, of course, after you eat the Chinese food, you kind of want to go back. It's like, hey, I'm hungry again. It's one of the things we talk about with my family. We were there and I ate a lot. I'm like, but wait, by the time I get back into the car, I want to come back in again. So Nothing fun.
Is the Nothing phone the one with the clear back and all those LEDs on it, or am I confusing that with something else?
That's the Christmas tree we talked about.
No,
yeah.
That's something else.
Yeah.
I think Oppo and Poco is launching another one like that.
Oh yeah, but because we were talking about all those new phones with the LEDs on them. Last episode, yeah.
Yeah, and so we dubbed that Nothing phone the Christmas tree phone. But you have to, like Fee said, you got to put it upside down, put the face of the phone on the table, and have the back up so you can see that Christmas tree. So nothing is really nothing. It's a good thing. So Nokia has a couple phones, the G100 and G400. Now, what I don't like about it, however, is that Nokia, keeps using these older chips. For example, the Snapdragon 662 for G100 and the 480 for the G400. Now, one of them is $130. That's the G100. And then the other one is about $170. So if you are someone who likes your Nokia phones, maybe that's something to look forward to. And maybe John may unbox it, or I may get one to unbox it. John, have you ever tried a Nokia phone, the newer ones?
No. The last time I had a Nokia phone, it was a Windows phone. So that's how long it's been for me.
I got to try those new ones. But I got to try those new ones from Nokia. And I honestly didn't like them because, as you said, when they use like those yesterday chips, I was setting up someone's phone for them. It was a Nokia. I can't remember what model it was particularly, but it was so sluggish. Like for this to have like Android 13 or 12 or whatever on a old chip where you can pay pretty much the same price for a mid-range phone and you can have a better chip, a better processor. And it was so sluggish. I don't know. I don't know why they do that. Like, you have this price and you don't use good chips. It's just crazy. I don't get it, to be honest.
In reality, Nokia phones, I like you, Nokia, don't get me wrong, but I think they're overpriced for what they are, but then they have a clean UI. So I give that to them. And then, of course, updatability is questionable, and looks like they're kind of trying to update their phones now. So we'll see how that is. But if you're a fan of Nokia, we're not abusing your Nokia phone, but just letting you know you could have something out there you want to play with.
Well,
Was
so the
it
one I
Nokia
tried,
that had that weird thing where you could buy the phone and then give it back, or some strange? Or was that somebody else?
Oh yeah, we talked about that in one of our podcasts. It was I don't remember the term now, but yes, I remember we talked about that here, extensively. Does anyone remember what that was?
Yeah,
Austin?
I don't remember what it was called, but it was
Yep.
they were just trying to replace basically what the carrier is already doing to you, like letting you pay for a phone over time and then making you trade it in for a new one. So they're basically
Exactly.
just stepping
Yeah.
in to just deal with you directly rather than having you
They
go
were
through the
talking
carrier.
about planting a tree for you when you get a phone or something. It's just
That's it. That's it.
You could just plant one. Like you could just yeah.
Before we close this segment, though, how about we talk a little bit about Google? Google showed up there at CES as well. And John, you want to take a crack at some of the things that Google showed?
Sure. So one of the things they were introducing, which I honestly didn't pay too much attention to, was their Android Auto updates, and Android Automotive, which are actually two separate things. Android Automotive is like when the whole car basically runs on Android, and Android Auto is when you can connect your phone to the display of the car and it still uses your phone for everything. But so I didn't follow that too closely. They also announced something called I don't know what it's called, but it's basically if you're listening to something on a Bluetooth device like music and you get closer to a different Bluetooth device, they'll give you a notification that you can just tap if you want to change Bluetooth devices really quick, which I guess is cool, but I feel like it would annoy me more than anything else. But that's something they announced as I don't remember what they called it, but
It's
a
called
new
the tap
feature.
to move.
Okay.
Yeah.
But presumably you
That
could
makes
turn that
sense.
on and off, no?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, so the whole idea makes sense though. So, I'm coming back from work or I'm coming back from, walking and I'm listening to something on my headset and I get into the house and I could move that thing to any of my devices if I want to put my headset away. So it totally makes sense. But, talking about that automotive now, what they're saying is that they have now 7 partners, manufacturers, car manufacturers that are part of the Google Android Automotive. One of the things that is nice here also is something that we talked about, and most especially, John, when you did your tip of the week on how to separate sounds on on Samsung devices. And so Google is taking a crack of that if you have an Android 13 and they're working with Spotify, so you could use that separate sounds and be able to play that music on a different device without it. I think it's good for those of us who are screen reader users. So if I want to be able to still hear my screen reader on my phone and not going alongside with the audio that's playing on that device, I think it's a good thing. And so I think for the time being, it's only Spotify and YouTube Music that are being supported, but it's a good step. I think we'll soon see that system-wide capability of separating sounds.
And you can already do that on Spotify because it's got a connect to device thing in the app. You've been able to do that for quite a while.
You can technically do that in any app as long as you cast from the app. But if you
Exactly.
connect to a Bluetooth speaker, this is different. I actually didn't hear that announcement, so that That's interesting if
Oh, I
that's
see.
going to
Yes,
be
that's
coming.
because actually that's not Bluetooth. So yeah, that's a Bluetooth thing
Yeah,
now.
that's over Wi-Fi. Like you can use YouTube Music, or if you have like a radio app that supports casting on TV or whatever.
Yeah, but if you've got, I
you can-
see. So this is if you've got a Bluetooth speaker rather than a Wi-Fi one.
Exactly.
yes,
That's
that's
what it is.
yes.
Yeah.
Ah.
Because
Oh
right
no, that's
now,
quite good.
if I send my Bluetooth to my speaker, I'll be hearing my talkback on there too.
Yes,
So
and that's
that
annoying.
will help that, just like John demonstrated with the Samsung one. So I'm liking what I'm hearing. I hope it comes soon. And then there's, I think there was something that also was mentioned there in the Google stuff, is that the fall detection. Yeah, the fall detection was only on Pixel phones. Now I think Xiaomi, and I can't remember who the second manufacturer is, they're also going to be getting that feature.
So the phone can detect if you fall over. Is that the idea?
Yeah, so a crash detection, maybe
Yeah.
you're in the crash or whatever, something happens, it will let you know, are you still there, or else it will just call emergency for you. So
You've been to the pub and had
it's a
too
good
many
idea.
drinks,
Exactly.
fallen down the stairs.
Exactly. So, so many things going on at CES that we couldn't possibly talk about, but it's one of those highlights.
I think John wanted to talk about something to do with wireless, though, didn't you? Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah. So the PWA Power or Wireless Power Consortium, WPC, I guess. They announced Qi 2, which is a new standard. They say it's based on Apple's magsafe technology because it uses magnets to align the phone or device correctly during the charging.
It's for charge. Oh, so it's not Wi-Fi. It's a charging thing. Oh, that'd be
It's a new
exciting.
wireless charging standard. So I don't know that it's going to mean that Android phones will work with MagSafe chargers. I would be surprised if that's the case, but
No, it's
they're
probably similar, but
they're
not.
yeah, but it is going to be nice to have magnetic chargers because so many times I think my phone's aligned and I'll
It
go
isn't.
to get it and it's charged, but it's like really hot, like it's been charging more than it should,
Oh, I
something like
hate
that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
annoying. That'd be really
have
good then.
yeah, so having the magnet to make sure it's aligned, you're getting an efficient charge and it's, not constantly connecting and disconnecting. That's not good for
So
your battery. So
would it be backward compatible, do you think? Or would you have to?
yes,
Yes. Oh, that'd be good.
it is. So if you have a phone that's has wireless charging, you could use this charger. You just still have to align it yourself. But if your phone has the magnet in it, it'll align it for you.
But presumably most of our phones won't have that yet, will they?
No, they're supposed to. They said late this year, the end of 2023 is when phones will start to be released with that technology.
You sort of wonder why they haven't done that already in some ways, really. I mean, when I had a few years ago my Samsung watch that's now, no good anymore because every time you turn it on, it heats up and nearly burns your wrist. So that's not as dangerous. And it was so old, it wasn't worth getting it fixed. But when I used to use that and charge it up, it was a magnetic thing, to stick to the charger. So I don't know why they've
I think
not thought of
the
that
reason it
before for
hasn't
the
come to
phones.
phones, is because wireless charging hasn't been that fast. Now they're getting it up to 15 watts, which is actually a decent charging speed. So with smaller devices with smaller batteries, you don't really notice how slow it's charging. Like it's charging slow, but the battery is so small that you could still get it charged in a couple hours. So, I think that's why it hasn't been like as mainstream. I mean, there have been accessories that you can buy with magnets that sort of align your phone for you and stuff like that, but no official standard that everybody can, develop accessories for.
It's good that they've done that now. Or they will be doing it. I got a new power bank a couple of months ago that I think I mentioned on here when it was the Black Friday deals on Amazon, and it's not magnetic, but it does charge 15 watts, it says. So it's got 3 USB ports and a USB-C one, and like a circular bit, so you can, and that's where the wireless charging bit is, inside that circular bit. And then that's made of something like silicon, so it's not so slippy for the phone to fall around the place. So yeah, they are definitely, they're getting faster, aren't they? Which is good news as well, because it's so much more convenient than messing around with cables and stuff.
Let's now turn on to our app of the week, and that would conclude this New Year's episode. Our friend Miwash now brings us something called Smiling Mind.
Hello everyone, this is your favorite potato. Today I'm gonna talk about an app which is really helpful, and it's related to a very serious thing, which is mental health. It's an app called Smiling Mind. It contains a lot of mindful meditation programs, and it's totally free. It was made in Australia, and I wanted to feature it because it contains a really great accessibility. So someone sat there and worked on it, because everything is labeled. So the app is open. On the bottom you have 4 tabs. From the left,
Home button selected.
This is home, where you can continue the program you have started and see your achievements and things.
Explore button.
Then you can explore different programs.
Favorites button.
Here are your favorite programs.
More button.
And here is more stuff. We'll go through every of these tabs, but we are now on the home tab, and I will show you what's here.
Keep up the great work heading. You're on your way to building a healthy habit with mindfulness. Get started heading.
So yeah, I've already done some meditations here, so just to test things.
1, 2, 3.
And
4.
here are, this is not quite accessible, but here are like
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Completing 10 meditations can see you begin to improve in areas like focus and concentration.
I think these numbers are like meditations. So if you have, for example, completed 4 of 10 meditations, numbers from 1 to 4 will have some like icon or something. I don't know.
Button, new activity, 5 mindful breaths.
So yeah, here you can launch a meditation.
Up next in your current program, heading.
Here is what's next.
Play What is Mindfulness lesson. From an intro to mindfulness. 1 minute, 0 seconds button.
So yeah, here is an animated video. Sadly, we don't have an audio description, but well.
Mark What is Mindfulness as favorite button.
Yeah, we can add to favorites.
Try these programs, heading.
And here we have some suggestions.
List. Button, an intro to mindfulness, short introductory animations and simple meditations to get you started.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. It tells you where it's a list or it's a button. It tells you everything, and it's not a normal habit of TalkBack because it's not a web app. So they have made it so it reads what control you're on. Like if it's a list or if it's a button, everything is being read, and I really love that. The similar thing is implemented into the Amazon's Assistant app. I won't tell that name because it will trigger mine.
But list.
So yeah, we are on the list.
Button, an intro to mindfulness, short introductory animations and simple meditations to get you started. Mark an intro to mindfulness as favorite. Button.
So we have
Mindfulness Foundations, our most comprehensive adult program covering the essentials. Mark button, Mindfulness Foundations, our most comprehensive adult program covering the essentials.
So yeah, we have different programs here. We can open them, and it also tells us what they are about.
Mark button, explore more.
We have the mark option.
Button, explore more programs.
Explore more will lead you to the Explore tab. So yeah, let's click on one of these.
Mark button, Mindfulness Foundations, our most comprehensive
For example,
adult program.
these.
Mindfulness Foundations, heading.
And we are in the program menu.
Download for use offline.
So yeah, we can download a program.
Mark Mindfulness Foundations as favorite button.
Also, we can from here mark it as favorite.
Our most comprehensive adult program.
Here is
Program looks
the
at 5 key elements of mindfulness practice: awareness, attention, engaging the senses, noticing thoughts and managing emotions through popular meditations such as the body scan and mindfulness of the breath. It also explores topics such as curiosity.
So yeah, here we have the full description.
Program contains 9 modules and 35 sessions. You've completed 0%. Program progress. Summary.
So yeah, here is your progress.
Mindfulness 101. The body and breath. Heading.
So this heading is a module. Every module is a heading and it has sessions in it. So
Play the body scan. Meditation. 8 minutes, 3 seconds button.
so here is the first session and we
Mark the
can
body scan as favorite.
mark it as favorite, and here we have
Play
next
exploring the
session.
breath. Mark exploring the breath as play connecting with your Mark connecting with your play. Are you really listening? Mark, are you really listening as mindfulness 102. Sounds and taste. Heading.
And here is the next module. And below
Mindfulness
this
play button. Play 3 button. Play next.
we have a button which will probably add it to the queue. That play next button. I didn't try it yet.
Go back button.
And we can go back.
Home button. New activity. 5 mindful breath.
So yeah,
Explore button. Home. Explore button.
then we have the explore tab.
Explore. Selected.
And here it's really interesting.
Explore. Heading. Menu item. Adults. Menu item. Kids.
See, it tells you that it's a menu item. It's not a talkback behavior.
Menu item. Youth. Menu item. Families. Menu item. Classroom. Menu item. At work. Menu item. Other languages. Menu item. Research projects. Home button.
So yeah, you have different categories and based on them you will see different programs.
Menu
So
item.
for example, I am an adult,
More.
so
Menu item. Adults. Adults selected. Go back button.
yeah, it also tells you what's selected. It's really cool how that UI was made. I really love that.
Adults. Programs designed to support adults to better manage the pressures and challenges of our busy, modern lives. All programs. List. Button. An intro to mindfulness. Mark an intro to mindfulness as button. Sleep. Want a better night's sleep. Try these meditations when winding down or having trouble sleeping.
Oh yeah, I've used that one. It's really helpful.
Mark sleep as favorite. Button. Bite size. Experience the benefit of pausing to be more present, even if only briefly, at various times throughout the day. Mark bite size as button. Native Week meditation. Voiced by activist, actor, author, and Indigenous elder Uncle Jack Charles. This program is designed to help you develop greater self-compassion. Mark Native Week. Button. Sleep 21 night program. Try our 21-day sleep program, specifically designed to help improve your sleep.
Okay, I won't go through these all because it would take ages. I will just instead show you the next tab. So we need to press the back button.
Explore screen. List of 8 categories.
Oh yeah, and we are back to the explore screen. It tells you how many categories are there.
Favorites. Button. Window smiling 9. Explore. Favorites.
Favorites.
Favorites. Selected. More. Favorites. Heading. Button. Programs. Selected. Button. Sessions. List.
So yeah, we have 2 tabs. We can add programs to favorite or separate sessions.
Button. 16 to 18-year-olds. Designed to support teenagers as they plan for the future. Mark 16 to 18-year-old. Button. An intro to mindfulness. Short introductory animations and simple. Mark an intro to mindfulness as favorite. Button. Button. Anytime. Use these practices to support you and your family whenever you need to reset and refocus. Mark it. Button. Sleep. Want a better. Mark.
So yeah,
Home. Button.
these are my favorites.
Favorites. Button. Select.
And that's all from this tab. So we can go to more.
More. But. More. Selected. Me wash button. Selected. Edit button.
So here is my profile.
Settings. Heading. Menu item. Build a habit with reminders.
Oh yeah, if you are forgetting about things like me, you can set reminders. So it will remind you when it's time to, calm down and pause whatever you are doing.
Menu item. Toggle the well-being check-in.
it will probably ask you how are you feeling and stuff. I'm not sure.
Menu item. Set your display preferences.
So yeah, display preferences.
Menu item. View and control offline downloads.
Here we can manage the downloaded stuff.
We are Smiling Mind. Heading. Australia's leading preventative mental health, not-for-profit, with a focus on helping young people and those around them develop the skills they need to thrive in life.
So yeah, here is everything about them. I really appreciate that such an app exists.
A list of 10 helpful links which open in a web browser. List menu.
So yeah, you have a list here.
Menu item. Learn more about us. Menu item. Want to help. Donate now.
Oh yeah, I strongly encourage you if you can to donate to them. It's a really good app and it's awesome what that guys are doing.
Menu item. Learn tips and tricks. Menu item. Meet our partners. Menu item. Need help with the app. Read our FAQs. Menu item. Smiling Mind in schools. Menu item. Smiling Mind at work. Menu item. Need more mental health support. Reach out to support services. Menu item. Looking for the legal stuff. See our privacy and terms. Menu item. Learn more about it. Menu item. Learn tips.
So yeah, that's all we have here. I also wanted to say that the app has haptics, if your phone supports haptics. Sadly mine doesn't. I mean this one does because it's a Galaxy S10. So if you press on something, it just, vibrates.
Menu item. Toggle the well-being check-in.
Yeah, I wanted to check this because I am really interested what that is and I forgot to check that before I've started this recording. So I will show you now.
The well-being check-in is made up of a series of questions before a meditation. They are designed to show you how your mindfulness practice may be helping impact areas of your life, such as stress, sleep, relationships, focus, awareness, and responding.
That's also a really cool feature that's probably gonna help you. So yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope it wasn't too boring and I hope you will try this app yourself because it's really awesome. So thank you for listening and have a nice day.
That concludes this week's episode, the very first episode of 2023. And Austin will give you info on how to get hold of us.
For people to locate us, they can email us with their questions or feedback or comments or recording submissions to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. They can browse our website, blindandroidusers.com. Check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/blindandroidusers. Subscribe to our mailing list, Blind Android Users, plus subscribe at groups.io. The links for Telegram and Twitter, Clubhouse will be in the show notes with all the other links. So that is it from us this week.
And from me, it's goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Have a good week.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.